job.
Alrighty, with that, we are finally live. Hi everyone, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. It has been a wild ride. For everyone who's tuning in for the first time, hi, my name is David. I am the lead over at Polyhedra. We're a team of professional DMs who love bringing quality games to people who sometimes just have a hard time finding a good game or just wanted to have something that's a little bit more polished. But, of course, we started a little bit late tonight, and I think it's just fair to you all to kind of explain that. We ended up having a little bit of a delay. This time, not necessarily the technical variety, just sometimes, you know, shit happens IRL, and so our sixth player, Marissa, will hopefully be able to join us halfway through the session. We just wanted to give her a little bit of a grace period to enable her to be able to show up, and that just didn't work out. But sometimes that happens, and what you gonna do, right? It's just how it works. However, we are super excited because this fine evening we are stepping away from the usual campaign, the campaign that we have been running for a long time, to present to you A House Divided, a Foundry virtual tabletop exclusive and the very first adventure they have published. For any of you that are watching from the community that have, you know, been around for a while, you know that I'm a little bit of an evangelical when it comes to using Foundry. I love the virtual tabletop, and that's not just because they, you know, associated with us for this stream, but because I just believe in the app that they have. It's really cool. Go check it out, foundryvtt.com. It's really, really awesome. Now, I was super excited when I heard that they actually were publishing their first adventure, because it's one thing to work on an app. Sometimes I feel like people get very dissociated, get detached from the thing that they're trying to work towards. Word. But, you know, things like that can sometimes be very dissociated from what you're trying to aim at. Atropos and the others over at Foundry, they do a phenomenal job actually running games. They have run this game live on stream as well. If you guys want to hop over to the Foundry Twitch, hopefully after this stream, and check out how they ran it. There's just a lot of amazing passion for this, and it's one of the reasons why I love this hobby, why I love the players who are here and the people who are now watching, because you guys are excited about this stuff. Like, we get into this hobby probably a little too much, but that is that. So, in any case, that is amazing. We're so grateful. Thank you, Foundry, for picking us as one of the streams to stream this officially. With that in mind, I would like to also introduce the players for this evening. As you will see, the names underneath the faces are the characters that we're going to learn about as we're delving into A House Divided. But it's also important sometimes to know the people behind it. So, playing as Henry, we will have Alex in the totally not Sith colors, don't worry about it.
It's fair.
Usually plays Brissa on the Light of Thylea stream. To the right on the screen, we have Jason. Many thousands of miles, well, hundreds of miles. Maybe that's like, no, it's hundreds of miles. To the east. Maybe it's 1,000. Maybe, it doesn't matter. We have Jason, who's going to be playing Sebastian this evening. Awkward waves are required. I know, I don't want to be the MC who's like, wave harder. No.
Wave harder.
We need like an applause.
983.7 miles. There you go. You could have said 1,000, it would have been pretty good.
Perfect. Up next we have a dear friend of mine for a long time, IRL even, who helped me get this community started, so thank you for that. We have Clancy, who's going to be playing as Marcus. Up next, we have the wonderful Damon, who has probably rules loyalty more than even some of the most... No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I appreciate having players like Damon. For all of you GMs watching out there, having a veteran who understands how rules have progressed and can keep you on your toes is like, but does that make sense? They're good to have. Holy shit, thank you guys for the hype train. With that, we have Damon playing Brock, aka Brockton.
Weird wave, right? Awkward waves.
Awkward wave.
Weird awkward wave.
Do the pageant wave.
What is it? Elbow, wrist, wrist, elbow,
That
wrist.
feels like somebody who doesn't know how to use their hand.
Yeah, those are people in pageants, David. That's
My favorite thing.
They're not just hard to draw, they're hard to use.
And then, last but most fabulously, we have Tyler, who's going to be playing. Technically, it's a long-ass name, but we just abbreviate
Yeah.
it because there's only
It's
so
okay.
much space on a nameplate. Tyler.
I'm glad you did, because that's what he's gonna go by. Like, that's what he tells people to call him. So
I
perfect.
appreciate that. So,
Yeah.
playing as Bryn. These wonderful people, and of course Marissa, who's going to introduce her character, hopefully, as she's going to join us at the break, are going to make up a group of adventurers. Maybe heroes, or maybe just people looking out for their own sake. In this adventure, brought to you by Foundry VTT. Now, as we delve into A House Divided, it is always exciting to discover ancient evils, the darkness that lurks under the rock, or sometimes, the floorboard as you lift it up. But it's never as interesting as some of the characters who do the lifting in the first place. A House Divided can be placed anywhere. It's one of the best parts of this adventure. You need a little bit of a break in your campaign. Why not throw a haunted mansion at your party? There's a weird, odd house at the top of a hill. You heard a rumor of a place that has been out for 20 years. But our group finds themselves a little bit more embroiled with what has happened. Now, all of you now live. Maybe you were not raised here, maybe you were not even born here. Maybe you lived for decades outside of the holy kingdom of mankind, which is often also known as the Crown. A religiously staunch kingdom that has made its claim aggressively throughout its territory, taking over kingdom after kingdom, consolidating the power of different humanoids for a long time, but there was a certain preference for those who would bow their head towards the sun, the god that the crown worships. And as they progressed further and further, more and more counties, little hamlets, and even cities bent the knee. The crown grew over many generations and has now become known as the most powerful nation in the world. There was one kingdom that until not so recently stood in its way. A kingdom of elves that lived in the ancient forests that bordered on the western half of the crown. The crown tried diplomacy, threats, intimidation, burning of forests, but in the end, it all led to total war. The elven population was mostly decimated, and then strewn throughout the crown to enforce a mingling and, well, a bending of the knee once more of the elven populace. The former elven lands, those that once were holy to the people of the Feywilds, the creatures that once had the connection to all things Sylvan, was crushed, their spirit scattered. But during the years of the war, when the holy priests of the crown clashed against the primal casters, the druids of the deep wild, a third practice became significantly more prominent. As suddenly arcanists were requested and asked after, when these arcanists were supposed to suddenly bring the war to an end, whatever the cost. During those years, arcanists, ranging from artificers that approached magic as more of a science, alchemically changing certain things into others so that they might be more resilient or better at piercing through the ironwood armor that the elves used, all the way to necromancers and other wizards that would stop at nothing to gain more power. And ultimately, these arcanists thinned the veil between this world that you all now know is not the only world. Now, there had been the stories of the elven kind that had been said that they were from the first world, a world that came before this one, where the Sylvans lived, where you could run into an evil hag or an archdruid that would grant you wishes. A bunch of hogwash, according to, well, the church. But as it turned out, those different planes very much did exist, as some elves escaped to the Feywild. Others suddenly found themselves pursued by humans and other humanoids into the Feywild, captured, alongside some of the other creatures that lived there. Yet others found other planes of existence, hellish realms, desperately dark, bleached realms. And inside of those lived creatures that the until then relatively sheltered people of the lands of the Crown had never seen before. And so, over the last couple of decades, monsters have been roaming the countryside. Now, this might be good news for the people like you. Some call you monster hunters for sale. The elves sometimes call you witch hunters. But wherever you go, eyes look at you distrustful, but with respect, for they know that you are what makes the thing that goes bump in the night go never bump again. You all are the contractors that the Crown has sent out to kill the remains of these extraplanar monsters that have been sent throughout the countryside. A werewolf uprising? Ah, no worries, bring a little bit of silver. A vampire that has been taken over the town council? Ah, it's alright. You prepared the sun spell, right? Just don't do daylight, because it's not actually sunlight. Now,
Who knows that?
yeah, but a little bit of D&D 5th edition lore. Now, over these years, you have started to grow together as a team. While you're all equals in your own right, Brockton, you as a, well, man of technically noble status, have found yourself very much privileged. It was easier to get the nicer contracts, to negotiate higher gold payouts. But this latest contract, as the parchment was slid across the wooden board and hammered there, as you saw the name of the manor before you, Raventree, a mansion that has been derelict for 20 years, is now up for grabs, though there are stories of monsters, ghosts, and even giant spiders that supposedly roam within its reaches. To whomever is capable of clearing out these dangers, the estate and sizable acreage belongs, and a noble title. As you stood there, Brockton, in the guild hall, you felt the other adventurers starting to step forward, trying to grab that piece of paper so that they may claim this title of nobility and the comforts that it would have. What did you do? And as you hesitate,
Brock steps forward. He's kind of a stocky guy, kind of average height, 5'9", 5'10", but you know, kind of stocky. So it's a little easy for him to kind of shove his way in between people and get him out of his way. And he does just that, kind of, you know, as his hands start reaching, he goes, "Claim this one. This is personal."
You see this towering human man, though he's easily almost 7 feet tall. You can see there's like a very bulging eyebrow, almost no actual brows upon it. Something that some people have referred to as Ogren before. A mix of giantkin. Kind of looks down at you.
Well, what's supposed to be mine?
A little bit faster.
And suddenly, a hand, muscular, toned, and was just utterly too thick of black hair, seems to grasp the shoulder of this ogre. As your longtime friend, Brockton, since the days of boarding school, seems to grasp this man. Marcus, would you like to describe what you look like?
Yeah. Marcus is also from nobility. He is just fine in every sense. He's got beautiful, long, flowing hair that always seems to have a gentle breeze somehow flowing through it. Sharply dressed in only the best and finest fashion. And just absolutely muscular. He's just, yeah. He makes the ladies swoon. And a couple of the guys, too. He doesn't mind that. As he'll... it's an embarrassment, honestly. As he'll grab onto that shoulder and be like, "So sorry, friend. Better luck next time. I believe, though, that there's a mission just right over there that just screams somebody of your physique." And he'll just grab a random one.
Make me a persuasion check as part of that. First roll, let's go.
Not bad.
Oh. I mean, I've been eating some extra hog, a couple extra haunches for lunch, and then, there's a pork belly for dinner, and there's...
Oh, absolutely, and it is working, of
You
course.
think they would need me?
Oh, absolutely, sir.
Alright, thanks.
Of course.
That's nice.
Kind of lumbers over to the other posting.
Rock,
Marcus,
could you be
watch-
any slower?
Yeah. Marcus, you watch as Brockton, Brockton, you have stepped up towards the mission board, kind of like ripped it off, and you're just holding the parchment down in your hands there as you rub the coarse material, and you see the writing and the beautiful priestly hand that wrote it. What emotions do you think are flowing through you as you see the name of the manor?
I think Marcus falters from the pleasant smile to the only smile Brock knows as like his fake smiles. Just Marcus goes, that's what I think that is.
It is. Absolutely. It's my grandparents' house.
Now you want to go?
I need to make sure that there's nothing there that would further tarnish the family's reputation, or that could end up putting some kind of power in the wrong hands. When I thought it was just abandoned, I didn't care, but if the crown is sending people in to reclaim it, I need to be sure of what's there and what's not.
No.
All right.
I know. I'll buy you extra beers for this one.
Probably not anymore. You'll make me sick by all the beer you owe me. Just maybe a nice new hat. I seem to lose.
I mean, all that hair, pop.
It happens to the best of us. He definitely tries to flick the hair and hit Brock in the face with it, just like.
It's stuck in my beard.
Oh, God, wash your
Stand-
beard, man.
Stand over there. You act like I'm unclean or something.
I have these oils that are fantastic. Let me show.
And as you walk back towards the
time.
table where you guys have been sitting to kind of start rummaging through your back, you actually tousle the very full bag of what seems to be random unguents and potion bottles and what seem like clay jugs with cork stoppers, and kind of like as you push over Henry, you kind of like instinctually like ah, as you are worried about the different things that are inside of there potentially mixing, and oh god, you can imagine the different things that could happen if those two combine. Oh, they could explode, but those two, that could be interesting. They could be a good sauce for steak. But anyway, as you kind of grab it and kind of pull it back towards you a little bit, what does Henry look like?
You guys will see Henry, like, he looks kind of, he's very strong. He has, like, large muscles, but he doesn't seem to, like, take care of himself as much. So he's kind of, like, a little more, like, on the ragged side, right? He still, like, shaves and everything like that, but, just kind of, like, doesn't care too much about his outwardly appearance. And so you can see him just, like, looking into his bag and be like, if you break anything, you guys bought it. Like, that is, final sales. Starts rattling through. I don't think anything's broken.
I know to be careful, don't you worry.
Have you thought of adding padding to that bag of yours?
The padding's expensive. Like, that's fine. I don't need that. I can't afford that. Yeah, I need them to save my money for ingredients and everything. Like, put them all together. Yeah, you never know. Could be fun at the same time. But we're all safe.
Suppose I'll have to buy him a proper bag one of these days. He doesn't seem to want to do it for himself.
It's too much money. Oh, did you get a good posting? Are we heading off to somewhere like luxurious, a nice beach? Maybe that would be nice for once.
I know I told you some of my family history. We're heading back to Raventree. The Crown wants it cleared out and resettled, and I need to make sure that things that might still be there are handled properly.
A bit. So what are we expecting? Just some like vagrants? Like, are we expecting like, do you kind of have any idea what's going on there?
I mean, I haven't been there in close to 25 years, but the rumors I've heard are probably the same as everyone else. Spirits, ghosts, devils, giant arachnids.
Bryn, it is at this moment that your neatly arranged vellum-covered book before you that you have very meticulously turned over and written your arcane notes into, you are able to tear your gaze away, looking over the large spectacles that you wear towards Brock at the mention of ghosts. Now, as your eyes meet, what is the expression that Bryn wears in that moment?
It's the face of just sheer curiosity. If someone could, like, facially emote wanting to know everything they can about a certain subject, that's what his face looks like right now.
Now, that look of curiosity is curious on this relatively young-looking elven man. How else would you describe Bryn?
Bryn is a half-elf, so he has just kind of the underlying grace of an elf, but on top of that, way covering that, is just a constant bag under the eye, kind of exhausted but still energized to work and learn and read, and who needs to sleep when there's things you can do. So it's graceful, but graceful in a sense where it looks like he might just fall over at any moment from just sheer exhaustion.
So Bryn is a young parent in grad school, right?
Exactly.
Perfect. Cool. Got it.
He goes to night school and works full time.
To all of you who do that, oh god.
In a few years, but yeah.
Now, Brock, you have worked with Bryn for a while, and certainly all of you know that Bryn has a particular talent to use the powers of the weave, of the ether, the energy beyond and chaos, whatever it might have been described as, to, not like many priests of the crown, heal wounded flesh. Though that is not necessarily completely outside of his purview. No, he rather uses the force in a more mechanical way. Why heal the flesh when it is too late? Why not bring it back to do service? Something that is not necessarily commonly known, especially amongst the common folk you might come across, for many still fear such things as necromancy, and for any of you that have done any kind of clerical training, you know. Not clerical, you're not filing taxes. Clerical training. You know that necromancy is tolerated by the crown, so long as it is used against the darks and dangers that are out in the nightmares that are haunting these hamlets and towns. Now, Brockton, as you meet your eyes with Bryn, and that intensity of curiosity seems to match your maybe unease about this going up for grabs now, how do you feel about bringing a necromancer to your grandparents' house?
Big bug eyes in the corner.
You know you have to check with me before you animate any remains found on that property, right?
Sure.
If you reanimate my grandmother, we're going to have a problem.
And her name is... I forget!
Where'd it go?
When you remember, let me know. I'll avoid that one.
Her name was Ilana. Is that how you're going to say it, David? Or am I saying it wrong?
Ilana does now.
You see Bryn make a note, like, in the corner page of his spell book. But all I'm saying is they can be helpful.
Hopefully, yes, but a little respect for my family would be appreciated. You know you're only here because of Henry's insistence anyway, so please don't push my buttons.
As you say that, a door goes open and you can hear the wind howling outside as there's just a massive amount of just mean rain pouring down on the outside. A figure steps inside and you see the cloak pull back. Jason, I want to know how you pronounce it, because I've been going back and forth on this multiple times now. How do you pronounce it?
Just like Sebastian, but Sebastian.
So it is Sebastian. That you cannot say just
Sebastian.
like Sebastian and then go Sebastien. Those are two different
It's
ways to say
Sebastian. Sebastian.
As the rain
Yes.
it's just pouring on the outside, you do have some lightning flashes that seem to be kind of arcing across the sky behind you, kind of casting in a little bit of a silhouette. The door goes shut. What would you like, Sebastian? What would you say Sebastian looks like?
Okay. Sebastian is a very, very pale young man. Typically, he has very olive undertones in his skin, but his skin is so pale that the olive undertones kind of translate as maybe this kid's kind of sickly. He has, notably, he has luminous emerald eyes and a matching sort of emerald necklace that's like exposed, that sort of also glows just like his eyes, and his cloak, which probably got pulled back by the wind, and he immediately just sort of like puts it back up to try to be incognito as much as possible. You probably would notice if you looked close enough that his cloak actually doesn't seem to be just one color. It seems to almost take on the colors of everything like around it, and kind of lends a little bit of a camouflage to him. But yeah, he's also very sort of like unamused looking. He probably doesn't want to be here, although the lightning flashes, they definitely did it for him. So
I will need Bryn to make me a history check, and the four of you, not Sebastian, to roll me a D100.
He blows up.
Oh, not good. Oh, I need to change my dice. Campaign specific dice. It has to happen.
Same.
Well, I got an 11. Womp womp.
Did you roll your D100 too?
Oh, you wanted me to do that too? You got it.
I thought you were waiting to get your dice perfectly set up before you would roll that. So.
It's gonna take too long.
Vibes.
Okay,
Vibes.
We'll start out with the 11. You do recognize the cloak upon Sebastian's back to be of elven make. Something that the sages, the weavers of the ancient tribes, were able to do, something that would surpass the ability of many a human at the very least, was to weave the arcane into the things that they were crafting. Now, Sebastian, as far as you can tell, does not appear to have any elven heritage or blood to him, which is maybe interesting to someone of your birth, a half-blood. You are the offspring of two warring sides. Now, the apparent possession of this magical item in the hands of someone who clearly did not create it can have multiple implications. Whether they just bought it from a merchant, or if they, well, came from a family who directly stole it. That is something.
That's the one.
That is something that I would like to know. How do you think Bryn feels about that?
At first, it's like a pinch of anger, but he knows that ever since basically all of the elven territories were divvied up, so were the belongings. So sometimes people will end up with stuff that they shouldn't have, and he's just kind of learned to accept it.
Now, Marcus, you're the reason that this man now stands in this guild hall. A relatively recent arrival, he and his sister both seem to have come from nowhere. In fact, nobody really knows where they came from or what they are seeking here. And as such,
you believe that they seem to have something unique about them, something otherworldly. Marcus, your attention was immediately raised as you could feel a palpable difference in their magical auras. Now, mind you, this is not Mercury in retrograde or chakras. You could actually feel an ether change about them. Like they had touched something otherworldly, but the aura was so potent, so powerful about them that you wondered, what exactly was it? Where exactly did they come from? And then it occurred to you. They had been elsewhere. And so, You made a very good effort to talk them into becoming part of the group, strong-arming your good pal Brock very, very eloquently into letting these somewhat, it's not a phase individuals join the table. And effective they have been. As Sebastian steps towards the table, Brock, you kind of look behind him and around the guild hall, and you immediately realize his sister's gone.
Sebastian, where's your sister?
She's probably elsewhere. Who knows?
She's either invisible or elsewhere. Those are the two options at the moment.
Well, then she's probably one of them.
She did
Anyway,
not-
what is everyone having? Everyone having delicious drinks? No? Okay.
I think in light of this, holding up the job flyer, I need a whiskey or 3.
Ooh. So it's very intense it must be.
So we do good and go get drinks then. I'll go get drinks. Good.
Thanks,
That's
Henry.
bar. Brings back drinks for everyone.
Is this a coffee?
No, it's not a coffee. No.
Oh. Well, I don't want it then. No, thank you.
Oh, okay. Henry will just drink what he got for him.
Well, I'm really here on behalf of my sister. Although she sort of left me out in the wilderness, as it were. What exactly am I supposed to be here for?
We're going house hunting.
Ooh, wonderful. I already have a home, but this should be interesting.
Shit. Sebastian, of course you're supposed to be here to help us all. I mean, you and your sister are impeccable in your various skills. Where
Thanks.
there is work, there is coin, and we have work. And he'll just give a good pat to Brock on the back.
That is a good point. How much
As your
is this
sister
job
has
paying?
so... I'm sorry, what was that, Henry?
Oh, I just said, how much is this job paying?
How much is this job paying?
Brockton,
Send knowledge.
from your perspective, no, it's if you're able to clear out the house. I mean, the mansion itself is worth thousands. It has a couple hundred acres attached to it, which is land. If you own land, you get to actually make decisions for the township. You collect taxes from the hamlets surrounding it. You get a noble title. You can actually rise. You can become a merchant. You can do a lot of things that are foreclosed from even adventurers like yourself. This is stepping away from, oh, we're getting another 500,000, maybe even 5,000 gold contract into, we are set for life.
Based on what they're saying here, we would officially own my family's lands, which would include the titles and whatever else we find on the property.
Well, you should have just led with that.
I'm personally more interested in what we may or may not find on the property. I walked away from this life, but yeah, no, this is personal for me. For the rest of you, we can divvy everything up as necessary.
Is there anybody living on the property? Or are these mostly unliving people?
don't see anything here that specifies otherwise. I can't imagine there aren't some vagrants squatting on the property.
Well, this should be easy then. We'll just blow them up.
I've heard rumors over the years. People who know me, who know that my grandparents were the Corvinarises, find it fun to tell me about the rumors that they hear about the manor and the lands. So you might not have been in earshot when I mentioned it earlier, but there are rumors, there are ghosts and devils and giant arachnids and who knows what else living on the property. So,
well, now I'm trembling. I'm excited with excitement, not fear.
I mean, living is subjective, really, if you think about it. So, are there people living on the property? Probably.
Do these people breathe? Oh no!
Speaking as a man who's made his living practicing the medical arts, I can definitively tell you that the things that you deal in after you use your magic on them are not living.
Well, grammatically, isn't undeath just alive?
Would be true.
Logically, death does not exist. It is an absence of life.
This conversation's already boring me. When are we gonna go?
At this
see
point,
what
I
you've
think we need to
started.
find your sister, since she doesn't know where we're going.
Please. She knows more than any of us probably know. I'm sure she can find her way.
Does
send
she
her a
know where
message.
this place is?
Yes! At least I think. I mean, she gave me directions to this place, so if she doesn't, it's a little strange. That's an interesting question.
We could leave a message with the barkeep, right? We're like, hey, meet us, at here, Are we going now, or are we going in the morning? Like what time is it? It's...
What time of day is it, David?
It's whatever time you guys would prefer it to be. As the setup to get to know these characters, you guys helped me create the scene.
Maybe it should already be like dinner time then, and
Perfect.
then there's no rush to head out, and hopefully Marissa makes it back before we need to leave.
Hey! You do know the last thing that you would have to do is maybe go by, the officiants, which is a priest / quartermaster for the, guild, in order to overlook who gets which missions, so that they can keep tabs on who was lost during which missions, so they can reissue it out. And there you might be able to ask some follow-up questions, trying to kind of get the lay of the land, those kind of things. But yeah, other than that, you guys end up getting some food, sitting down, having a conversation. Sebastian is very evasive about the whereabouts of his sister. And you guys discuss the general, what does a life make? Does it have to be living? What is a tardigrade? But as you guys kind of go on with the evening and become very tired by that topic, you find yourselves returning back to the barracks. You take some time. As everyone else is asleep or reading their book or smoking a cigar under the underhang as this heavy rain has continued to fall for 2 hours, Sebastian, you can't help but to feel a little concerned that your sister has been gone this long. Now, you know that every once in a while she has contacted her. It does seem to come a little bit easier to her, which every once in a while can feel maybe a little unfair. What would you say?
Well, she's probably already at the house. Is my guess. She's probably pilfering through all the belongings, trying to take the nicest earrings, anything like that.
Wait, you think she's already at Raventree?
No, this is
I mean, I
just
don't
Sebastian
know.
is by himself now.
Oh,
My bad.
I don't think Sebastian's too incredibly concerned. Maybe he's a little concerned because maybe he hasn't She hasn't told him her whereabouts, which they usually have really great communication skills. But he's probably like, meh. She's probably already doing whatever she needs to do. She's fine. She's a bad bitch. She can handle herself. Yeah.
Alrighty. As the next morning, when the rain has finally let up a little bit, you find yourselves going towards the final posts within the little town that you're in and start heading westward to an estate that you know lies fairly close to the former western border with the former Elven Kingdom. You guys travel a couple days upon horseback as you finally arrive at a little hamlet where you put up the horses and start making your way into a deep, dark forest, overgrown with vines. Completely absent is any tending, any care for it. Towering pines and deciduous trees that seem to have lost all their leaves far too early in the season seem to almost sway towards you, like they're reaching for you. As you're mulching through the muck, boot by boot. We'll take a short break. I hope that by the end of that, we'll be able to have Marissa with us. So, we'll see you guys here shortly. Alrighty, and with that, we are once again back. Thank you guys for the patience, for waiting during the break, and we have the wonderful Marissa once again with us, joining us so that she may take her rightful place amongst the other adventurers headed into the Raventree Manor. Now, before the break, we had introduced the characters very briefly, had talked about their involvement with the guilds under the crown, holy nation that apparently may be partially responsible for unleashing horrors upon the countryside. Now, this manor may or may not be also infested with these horrors, and as people that were specifically on many occasions hired to root out this evil, you are now headed towards the building. Now, you had traveled multiple days on horseback. Sebastian, you were very blasé about the fact that Celine had not been... Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Awesome. That Celine was not there. And maybe after the first night, you kind of laughed it off. Maybe after the second night, you're like... maybe after the third night, you started to feel a little bit of concern about your sister. But it was definitely on the fifth night as you guys wake up in this tiny little Bodunk hamlet. Bodunk. It's Podunk, isn't it? God damn it, the German strikes again. Nope, it's Bodunk now. I'm gonna make that canon. This Bodunk hamlet. That you guys wake up and start heading.
Not Bodunk. Why did we go through Bodunk?
As you guys start heading towards this dark forest with the deciduous trees that are missing their leaves or just turning not even yellow, but gray, far too early. All of you guys can see the signs of what seems to be a decay of darkness lingering here. There's just this perpetual feeling of something just isn't quite right. And as you guys are approaching, we'll switch to Celine. Now, back in the land of the crown, Celine, you and your brother have not been here for too long. Something that you know Marcus has been curious about, and he has become curiouser and curiouser. That is really hard to say for a German as well. Curiouser and curiouser. Wow, that's hard. Damn you, Suze. And as Marcus has been getting closer towards, well, maybe just the details about your arrival within the Crown's territory that you would like to keep a little bit more private, not necessarily secret, but you know, privacy is privacy. You have been dancing around his questions, all the while still pursuing your questions, the reasons that brought you here. And you remember standing in a blighted land where shadows were the black and the white, where darkness reigned and dreariness suffused everything. You remember looking up at this dark sky, a churning swirl, turning the sky itself less into a depiction of the familiar clouds, but more into that of a churning maelstrom. And then you realized you were not looking upon clouds, but visible, almost corporeal souls. And that was when you first, holding your brother's hand, heard her voice. That was it.
That was it.
It was a harrowing moment for both of us.
So let's just press this. And that voice returned to you many times over the maybe 2 years that you have been traveling on this plane. This place is weird, different. This place seems to be suffused with darkness, but it's tinged deeper and more ominous, more evil. been anything that the place where you were born ever had. She sent you here. You and your brother both. You know your mission. Evil was committed here on a large scale. And you can see, almost taste, the atrocities. Indeed, there's much to be done to right these wrongs. Now, the night that your brother swaggered off through the rain and towards the guild hall, you have been lost in trance, trying to reach out. And it doesn't happen very often. In fact, sometimes you think you've lost her, lost the voice, lost the thing that has guided you in the darkness. But then you hear it. The soft, yet cold voice. And you just hear two words. Raven Tree Manor. Your eyes immediately shoot open as you start to look through the books that you've accumulated, throwing a couple open. No, this is not it. You start looking through territories and charts, nobility lines, and there you find it. Raven Tree Manor. You go over the details. House Corvinaris, a noble family. Yes. Arcane trade. They would have been. Keep looking through, and the entire family disappeared. You try to double check with the nobility, the lineage, and you realize indeed, overnight, it seems that all but one individual simply disappeared. An entire rising family that was slated to become part of the crown's highest court, just vanished. All but... who is this? Wait, this name is familiar. Brockton. And you realize the man who has been your leader, but not exactly your leader, might be connected to this place. You know you should be heading towards the guild hall. Maybe you should ask him questions. You start heading towards it with your hood raised up as you slink in while what looks like a towering ogre and kind of like a half-giant humanoid kind of like,
this is a good contract. You know, I know Marcus. He's a really nice guy.
kind of like steps out, and you kind of just slink in as you hear the conversation going on between everyone at the table. Brockton does not seem to be hiding any fact about, well, his family's connection towards or with this Raven Tree Manor. As you're slinking there in the shadows of the guild hall, kind of overhearing the rest of your group without engaging with them, what do you think? A, what does your character look like? And B, what do you think is going through her head?
Celine is mysterious, very charming. She is about 5'6", slender. She's got long dark hair, crystal blue eyes, very pale skin, a silver tongue, milky with her words, silky with her words, and she'll just lower her hood down, stay in the shadows, and sort of just see what's going on in the whole room.
You look around, and you can see the hubbub of many of the people who are monster hunters within the territories of the crown, especially in the now claimed territories of the former Elven Kingdom. You see average foot soldiers who after waging a war for decades, just didn't know what else to do. Sometimes, when the dog is trained to bite, it can never really become a home dog again. Sometimes, some men and women just learn to love the taste of blood. And so, many of these former soldiers find themselves very lucratively employed killing the creatures of the dark. Meanwhile, you also have zealots, priests, and holy people of the crown who blissfully hunt down anything that is not good, whatever that means. Blaspheming to them means anything that is not of this world, something that you know to be patently false. Now, as you look around, you suddenly notice that the building itself seems to lose color, turning gray and ashy. And suddenly the individuals themselves seem to be translucent and slowly fade away, until eventually the building itself seems to be creaking, almost as if decades had passed. The wood itself is splintered, termite infested and rotten. There are no people in here. There's no warm hearth. There are no kettles, no cauldrons bubbling away, no meat sizzling. It is just empty and cold. And you know that in that moment you crossed. You are in the Shadowfell. As you look around, you immediately know. You drop to one knee, bowing your head. And you can see two black boots. Beautiful yet simple black leather. Step towards you. The feet graceful, the legs long, but as graceful as they are, you dare not look up, though you know that this figure must tower maybe some 12 feet tall. Starting to step towards you, a long black gown is pulling the ashes, the soot, the destroyed wood, the remains of chairs, as if they are nothing more than fallen leaves behind her. As the steps come closer towards you, you hear the voice again like a whisper in the middle of your very mind. Do you trust him? And you know in your heart of hearts, the voice means Brock.
I will fan my own gown and cloak out beneath me and kind of prostrate myself before her, and even give like a tiny little kiss to her boots, and then slowly look up. I trust no one but my brother. Should I trust him?
And as you look up, the elegant and simple black gown that just crisscrosses and patterns across her, you can see that there seems to be some kind of a breastplate that she's wearing, but there's no shining of metal, but rather stark ivory bone encapsulating her own ribcage. Plates of it covering, but then laced black fiber across it. Cross-stitching this beautiful pattern, you can see what seem to be black lotuses beautifully tied into this. You see belladonnas, actual flowers, coming like a mantle in the back of hers, and as you look upon her face, you see nothing. It is not darkness, this is not light, it is not anything that your mind can comprehend. For to look upon the face of a goddess means to lose your very thought. So this is more to protect you. You speak of trust, child. You have not died often enough to know what trust means. You have not killed often enough to know what it means to betray a trusted one. Why does trust matter?
What matters is devotion. You have mine. What is your will?
You are in this world to correct the wrongs that its people have wrought upon themselves with precision. You're not there to burn them all. Neither are you there to turn a blind eye. Celine, you must exact the darkness from the roots of the tree from which Brock springs. Do you understand this?
The root of the tree. His lineage, you mean?
And the weird cosmic black swirl that is all yellow stars, yet at the same time 1,000 raven feathers fluttering together, nods.
And by your will, it will be done, my lady.
Rise.
And she will.
And as you kind of lift yourself up, your chin falling up to look, there's nothing. But then you hear whinnying outside of this bleached and destroyed echo of the guild hall.
Well, I will turn around. I'll use thaumaturgy to open the doors. And I'm going to go see what that noise is.
As you open it, you strut outwards, and there you see a beautiful black stallion, though it seems to have shimmers and spots of translucence. You see, where much of the mane and the fur itself should be deep, rich black, it actually becomes almost like a sheen of plasma and blues. As you realize this is a phantom steed.
A perfect ride. My lady provides. I will gracefully mount the steed, tossing the hem of my gown over it perfectly, tossing my hair back behind me. I'm ready.
And as you start galloping towards the location, you can see fields and fields of ruin stretch about you, the destroyed version of an almost upside down destroyed crown. A land without hope, without people, just peace and quiet. As the horse runs on, it's almost like it doesn't actually make any footfall. It doesn't actually destroy anything. It just glides across the ground. And you arrive at this place long before the rest of your compatriots do. As you do, you take the time as you were taught to hear the stories, to absorb the information. Celine, go to make me an investigation check, please.
Oh boy. First roll.
Since you have a couple days to this, go to make it with advantage.
Hey. 17.
Okay. Now, as you listen in, Many of the stories seem to be, your normal peasants' folktale about giant spiders and it must be ghosts, but some of the stories that you overhear certainly have some ring of truth to them. Something about the family Knavars being too deep into the war, that they had been pushed by the crown to develop something new, but then there was an unfortunate death of the matron of the house. That she had some kind of a wasting disease, that the limited poultices and healing potions that the patriarch of the family had developed did nothing against. You ask one of the elders of the town, a handmaid that once worked at the manor, say that they had sent word, that they tried to get some of the high priests from the capital to come and exorcise this evil from her body, but she wasted away so quick that...
Well, it just didn't do nothing to help her, really. It's a real shame. After that, Lord Connivarus, well, he just wasn't really the same anymore, He's kind of a recluse overall, but I mean, around her, he was quite nice. I always liked it, but it's just, I don't know, it's just,
Why? Are you thinking about going in there?
Going in there? Possibly.
oh,
It's a
I've
good
seen
idea, but maybe... Do you think I
many
should?
what? I'm sorry, dear, it's hard for me to hear my old age.
Do you think I should?
No, if you really shouldn't, you're going to die.
You should really be more brave. It is not attractive.
Lassie,
I said,
I'm 46 years old, do you understand?
Oh, you're ancient. I kid. You're a darling. You're very attractive. That is why I came to talk to you, You're the most attractive person in this place.
She has like 3
Oh,
teeth.
you're
There's like
welcome.
definitely a mole with like 5 hairs coming out.
Oh,
You hear it all the time. I know that you do.
you're just trying to charm me.
Nonsense.
Oh, don't be using the charming spells. Oh, you're from the crown. Are you a witch hunter?
I could see how you would make that mistake. No, a witch hunter. But I love witches. What do you mean?
What? You love witches? Are you going to open a gate to the hells there? I've heard of that before. There were others that tried that and they died. They died a terrible death. They all died. They never come
dear.
out.
I think he's had too much to drink. Perhaps you should go to bed. Well, my goodness, it's the teeth. Threw me off just a bit.
What?
I think maybe you should go to bed.
Excuse me, Lassie. I'm just going to be very, very real with you because you remind me of my great-granddaughter.
I'm sure that's not true.
Sorry. God damn it, Dana.
Poor woman.
Yep.
Hey, there are people I graduated from high school with who are grandparents, but not great grandparents. Just putting that out there.
My great-granddaughter looks almost as pretty as you. And she wants to go to the capital to become one of the priestesses, Worship sun goddess is good. You know what happened to her on the way there?
Did she catch the same disease and waste away?
Oh, no, Lassie, she got eaten by wolves.
Oh.
I have like 5 other great-granddaughters, so I mean, it's gonna be a replacement in the Hamlet, don't worry about it. But more importantly, she was brave, that one. And then she was Puppy Chow. Do you want to be Puppy Chow? Huh? Do you?
Sounds exciting.
You could just settle down here. A pretty thing like you could have anyone. I mean, anyone. There's Boba Butcherson over there.
I know.
I mean, he's...
As tempting as that is. I have to be going. I am looking for my brother. So, I would love to tell you it's been fun talking to you, but I would be lying. So I'm just going to go now. You have a lovely night, and I would... Thank you.
What's this? Not a compliment.
Yeah, she's gonna smile and just walk away.
You walk away and ultimately find yourself meandering towards the actual house. Now, the estate is as you would pretty much expect. If anything, it looks almost like a reflection of the Shadowfell. You step towards and there's that feeling of dreariness, feeling of something went awry. And as you step up towards the actual manor, you suddenly hear steps behind you. The rest of you, with long hair flowing down her back, you see none other than Celine already standing before the manor.
Oh, thank the gods. And I'm gonna shoot her a telepathic message and say, you left me to play fucking extrovert again.
Brother, I am so sorry. And you just see her turning around and she'll like kind of flick her cloak and just smile. But she's looking right at Sebastian and just smiling, not saying anything. But maybe if you look really closely, you could tell that they're at least exchanging a knowing glance.
And I'll
I'm
just...
sorry, darling.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm sure you have it covered. And I'll just, I'll go up and we'll do the kiss thing. Mwah, mwah.
You
Great.
look stunning, as always.
You as well. Thank you very much. This is new. Yes. I got it
Of course.
tailored and embroidered with a little bit of silver. Embroidered? I don't think that's a word, but... Oh. My
It is
accent
now.
changed again.
And so
Which one are we using?
I'm going back and forth. It's a dialect that is very specific between British and Romanian, I think, is what we are. I'm pretty sure that's what we're going for.
Which
Slovakian?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Google it.
I call this to
I'm
Tyler,
just
by
gonna
the way,
use-
though.
Google it. It's specific. We've been working on this for a long time.
Yeah. She wasn't really specific about which voice we were supposed to be using anyway, so, I'm just going to use whichever one I wish, alright?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect. I don't think it really matters anyway. We've known these people for a long time. We don't have to pretend like we're part of the local dialect, and I don't even really know what the local dialect is anyway, so...
Are we doing British now? Are we doing British now? British?
We can do
Is that
whatever.
what we're going with? Okay.
Sure.
By the way, Sebastian and Celine are twins. So as they stand there congratulating each other on how beautiful each one of them are, they are identical twins.
Yeah.
Marcus is gonna lean over to Brock and just be like, "Is this what it looks like when I speak in the mirror to give myself Is this what it looks like?"
It's like daily affirmations, but
No, because you at least say
In
things that
real
make
life.
sense.
I'll take that as a compliment. It is. Thank you.
See, Celine and Sebastian, they always look towards the sun. They just never look in the mirror,
Yeah. I'm the problem, it's me. Hi.
I love that we worked T-Swift into the first episode. Amazing.
Got it.
I haven't listened to that at all.
Oh, nice of you to bring the friends. Hello, 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 hello.
I'm just gonna go back to brooding now, alright? And I'm just gonna put my cloak over.
If I didn't know better, I'd think you had a sibling in the party who could contact you telepathically and tell you where to meet us. Oh, wait. Is that how you got here?
Nothing can get past you, Doctor. You're so smart.
Ooh.
Thank you for inviting me. By the way,
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure. It's beautiful here. I love it. I can see why your family built a place here. It's so dark and dreary.
It did not used to be.
Oh.
There
Well,
was
the
once
property
much-
value probably went up then, no?
Depends on who's buying, I suppose. But this is, this place contains many happy memories from my childhood. I can say that. It did not resemble this broken down facade at the time.
Why not just burn it to the ground? I mean, I
Potentially
like
an option.
fire.
It doesn't like
You know?
fire.
Makes funny sounds.
Did
We'll
they
get
say
to
we
the
have
long
to
story.
like actually go in there? Like if we did just burn it to the ground, it seems like it would be a solution.
Need I remind you,
Um,
you're talking about his childhood memory. Oh, what
Given my family's proclivity for selling arcane trinkets and gewgaws and whatever else, it would not surprise me if grandfather had my uncle or someone else ensorcel the place to not burn.
But then you could just start fresh. You could put up something that looks a little nicer.
If, as I've said, I have no care to reclaim the place as an abode for myself. If those of you who decide you want to stay here, should we successfully accomplish our goals, you can do whatever you want with it. The
Ibs.
biggest reason we can't just burn it down is I don't know what may be left behind by my family.
It's also definitely haunted, and that's very exciting, honestly.
I didn't go in before you all. I waited. So, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. And she just gives a wink to Sebastian.
Well, I'm getting bored of just. Oh, I'm confused by my own accent right now.
Which accent is it?
Can we just do British? Can we just go British?
Let's just do it. Let's just do
Be
it.
easy.
Let's just
Okay.
sexy
Sorry about that,
British.
guys.
Episode 1, it's fine. Well, I'm getting
Right,
bored
so we're
now.
going
I'm
this
just
kind
gonna
of
say-
low class British. We're going to be like, rough and tumble dock workers.
No.
Certainly
Going on?
not. Certainly not.
Well,
Do you,
Lovely
do you
to
smell
see you
something on
all.
the? Do you smell something on the air? What does that smell? It smells like decay, but it smells like home somehow. Is it coming off of you? Did you? Were you? I'm gonna look at my sister. Were you conversing again?
With the locals, I did indeed. I met a lovely woman. All of 3 teeth. Really, she was
Oh,
charming. I
3?
wonder, was she you?
I think that must be a record for this area. I think the barkeep only had 1.
Oh. I wonder, was she related to you, Doctor? Do you
I
think-
could see the resemblance. You are from this area, aren't you?
Yes, very much so. My mother grew up in this house.
Oh,
It's
Everything
his,
makes
his
sense.
family
Yeah.
home.
Right. The lovely woman I was speaking to did tell me something about the woman who lived here, I believe. Was that your mother?
More likely my grandmother that she would have been referring to.
Oh. Well, she did mention something about her getting fabulously thin before, unfortunately, succumbing
Yes, that would have been my
to
grandmother.
that. I see. I'm sorry. I bet she looked
Sorry.
beautiful. I mean, I bet she looked fabulous before she, you know.
She was, at least to my memory, a truly lovely woman before she died. But, well, before she was sick.
What did she die of? Death is so interesting, is it not?
No one's
I'm gonna
quite
look it
sure.
up.
It was some kind
Chinese
of
character.
wasting disease, as best we know. But her illness is what inspired me to pursue medicine.
You know, we should really look into that, because if we can bottle that up and then somehow stop it before, we could make a lot of money. Can you imagine?
Well, that sounds like
I
an
could get a new
excellent
room.
idea. Yes.
Yes.
I'll start
See?
working on that potion right away. That sounds perfect. We can make a killing.
Well,
Was that insensitive? I'm sorry.
no,
Sometimes I can't.
please. I don't think they really care anyway. Well, should we just go inside at least, find a few interesting things, if there are any interesting things inside?
Do we have a key, or are we just busting down the door?
Oh, please! You just burst down the door! You don't need a key!
Brockton,
Should we just...
as
Why
you
not?
approach, you have been trained in keeping an eye out and investigating the things that are about. I would like you to make me an investigation check, please.
Ooh, investigation check. 20.
And double checking with the magic items that you have. Does that affect this?
That's a good question. I mean, it's the it doesn't specify, even though like it's the Eyes of Minute Seeing, for those of you on stream, is what he's talking about. It doesn't specify like distance that you're that it applies on, although it does say you can see much better than normal out to a range of 1 foot. But it just says you have advantage on intelligence investigation checks that rely on sight while searching an area or studying an object.
Okay.
Just
So-
face against the wall.
It's just Brock fully tabletopping, just waddling about, looking at the ground.
I'll let you decide if it should apply
No,
in
it
this
says
scenario or
investigating
not.
an area. That clearly would be. So go ahead and make me that check. With
Then I'll
advantage.
roll it a second time. There we go. 25.
What occurs to you, Brockton, is as you walk through this place, more of an absence of things. It's weird. As you guys step towards this first floor of the mansion itself, there's an absence of violence, an absence of blood dried maybe long ago. You suppose it would have maybe condensated away over the years, but maybe there could be an axe greave or a weapon, a discarded shoe perhaps. There's just nothing. You kind of look towards the doors even from a distance, trying to see for any kind of sign that might indicate that people broke out of the room, but nothing. You remember that when, or at least so you were told by your father, your grandfather called not just the family, but also dignitaries and friends of the family to a memoriam for your grandmother. Everyone answered. Darius hadn't been heard from in years, and, well, this could only mean one thing. He was to pass on the torch. Your mom was supposed to be the next in line. She had kind of estranged from her brother and your uncle. And, well, your father always thought that it must have been your uncle's greed. Maybe there was something, bad blood, that caused everyone to be dead. But as you look towards this grounds, it just doesn't add up. There were too many people here. If your uncle had indeed attacked your mother, some people would have got away. He could have had an entire, mercenary band, a small battalion move in on this. But if he had, then there would be signs of this. But there's nothing. No sign of violence, struggle, just a heavily overgrown, fog-covered outing. All the shutters on the windows are closed. The door is neatly shut. What is this? It's just as if the mansion was just forgotten in time.
It's odd. It's almost like time forgot this place.
As
rather
in,
like
this
it.
is what it. Yeah, as in, this is what it looked like before, or
It's a bit run down, but apart from, I guess maybe my assessment was a bit off. It's like nothing has happened here except time.
yeah, wonderful.
That's what strikes me as strange, considering supposedly my grandfather, my parents, and dozens of others just disappeared here 20-ish years ago.
I'm sorry, you said disappeared. I'm a little confused by what you mean by that. Were you using that as like a fancy way of speaking, or did they literally vaporize in the air?
It's quite possible it was the latter, but definitely more just an apt description. We don't have any idea of what actually happened. Everyone was summoned here for a memorial for my grandmother, even though she'd been dead for a few years at that point. And the assumption was that my grandfather was going to basically announce his successor, presumably my mother. I wasn't able to make it because of obligations at medical school at the time, but everyone who was here, family, friends, various officious peoples that were invited, simply disappeared. Never heard from again.
I'm gonna telepathically link with my sister. Dramatic.
Indeed.
Wonderful. Well, shall we go inside?
We're gonna need a signal. You're gonna have to do something like this or something just to know that you're using your mental link or something, like L for
That
link.
seems
you know?
right.
Yeah.
T for telepathy.
That's not it. That's not
T
the
for
right one.
telepathy, just like this. T for
We
telepathy.
go. What's we can go? Oh, why don't we do this? There we go. There's
Okay. Yeah.
The unnecessary, like you have to touch
Dramatic.
your thing of
Yeah, like a
superheroes.
headset. Yeah.
Dramatic.
Stop touching it!
Why do they keep touching their ears? That's so weird.
Just wiggle the ear.
Kind of like how everybody shouts in their cell phone when they have it on speakerphone mode. I can still hear you!
Do you think that's close enough, honey?
Oh, does this belong to you then, effectively? Wouldn't you be everyone else's, you know?
I basically chose to walk away. The laws of the land are such that because it has not been subjugated to normal upkeep for 20 years, it's now up for grabs. I devoted myself to my medical practice and later to my, as you have aptly referred to it, my hobby of debunking occultish things. I simply chose to walk away from this.
I'm
Now
gonna
it
link
could be
my
ours.
arm.
It could be ours now. Isn't that so fun?
I'm gonna link my arm in Brock's. I want to say, now, a hobby. If you practice one day, you're probably as good as we are at this. I wouldn't call it a hobby. You're going to be great. You're very good at it. Very good. You're very good at it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You just keep practicing.
But you
Practice makes perfect.
definitely, you and your brother definitely are more the experts,
Attractive.
and that's
Oh.
that goes without question. I'm a pudgy middle-aged man, but
Oh,
We appreciate a dad bod. It's fine.
It's like going
It's true.
hard on the 34 line, you know?
but part of why I wanted the two of you along is this is where you are far more the expert than I.
That's
Second, I
true.
thought it was comedic relief.
I recognize talent where I see it. That's why you're here,
That is-
Bone Boy.
Yes, you are so
Well,
quiet.
Yes.
Isn't this sort of
and-
your spectrum as well?
True.
Yeah,
Bryn.
you guys just kept talking to each other. I was just waiting.
Oh.
It's polite.
Is he calling us rude?
I think it's hilarious.
It's true.
We're just laughing out loud.
Yeah.
So funny. Well, you knowing who the experts are, Brock, that makes you an expert at knowing experts.
It's true.
And,
Despite my best attempts, no one man can do everything alone. So knowing where to go for help in the areas in which you are standard at best, average at best, perhaps like grammar and word choice, are it's a valuable skill.
Now, for the first time, Brock, you remember, why did Marcus bring these two on?
you can see Marcus is questioning that himself right now.
I'm just sitting here thinking Marcus and his obsession with beautiful people.
Not looking at you. Not looking at me.
Beautiful people and twins. Sounds like a Marcus thing.
It wouldn't be the first time somebody was fascinated by that. You know,
Marcus, you dog, you.
we have stories.
Your voice said no multiple times. I understand.
Anyways, has anyone seen if the door's unlocked? Just go for the door.
Yes, let's go in. Let's go in.
Oh, man.
You don't have a key, right? They didn't give you one?
There was not one posted to the board, and I lost. Actually, I don't think I ever even had one. But the door's open.
Oh, look at that.
All right.
I took out my axe for nothing.
As you step forward, the door slowly creak open and reveal a tattered and cracked, chest-like mosaic floor before you. Childhood memories do come flooding back into your mind, Brock, of running across this, laughing and giggling with a much older person. Make me just a straight wisdom check as you try to recall this memory.
Wisdom. 14.
You remember laughing, being young, much younger than this person, but they were a child still, at least to your eyes. It's so long ago. You shake your head as you keep going forward. This foyer is expansive, though it is in ruins. You see that some light from the outside filters through the hills that kind of make up some of the estate that immediately surrounds the manor, that is itself ringed almost like a pack of wolves by these tall pine trees. Has like a fog rolling in and over, covering most of it, so the light that really does make it through to this very spot is weak and almost sickly. You can tell that there once was opulence for most of the rest of you. Brock, you're kind of lost in that memory cell as you're stepping forward, and part of you maybe has a little bit of a heartbreak moment as you realize just how much beauty was lost going between these places. You see that a chandelier collapsed down onto the ground. But again, you look around, carrying your 25 of investigation forward. No sign of weaponry. No tacks, no bones.
Maybe they did get vaporized.
That's more like it.
Yeah, is it like a family room that you guys would all could go to, like a meeting room or anything along those lines that we could start off in?
Yeah,
I guess so. Couple questions. I feel like Brock probably would have come back at some point shortly after everything went down, just because of his inquisitive nature. So he's probably not surprised that there's no signs of anything, because there wasn't back then. Why would there be now, right?
You were actually kept back by some of the Justicars of the Crown, because
Okay, that's fair.
Someone who was dabbling with powerful arcane magics, their entire family disappeared. They wouldn't let anyone near it.
Okay,
Now,
that's
it's been
valid.
laying still for 20 years. Nobody else, the Hamlet. You think to yourself, the Hamlet was kind of the, experimental hamster off to the
Right,
side. I don't even know what my brain did there. I stopped myself. I was like, I gotta say that word. The experimental
We know how to
hamster
talk.
to the side of this manor to see whether something else would happen. They did not evacuate or forcibly move that hamlet. It still stands, which must have communicated to the Crown that it was time to reclaim this manor, reclaim these acreages, and once again exact effective taxes upon these people.
So I guess then the question, as Henry asked, is where's the most likely place that this event would have happened?
You're not sure. You're just a kid. I'll tell you what, go ahead and make me a wisdom check.
I'm glad I did not skimp on wisdom.
Oh.
Although the dice skimped on wisdom pretty hard.
But with a natural 20, you've just gone to straight last level and boss immediately. This is a speed run now. You look around, you try to remember. You look through these spaces, and you're pretty sure, looking towards the west, that must have been... That was a place, but you were never allowed in there. Okay, so that's not a place for kids. You see these two flights of stairs leading upwards. That must be... Yeah, that probably goes... I mean, it's obviously the second level, but that's probably where the beds and such are. This stuff is usually where, servants stay and the like, but you do remember there was a parlor to the east here. You did spend most of your time as a kid there, being told to not jump on the chaise and chairs that are in there, not to try to steal some of Darius's good tobacco.
Not so much the tobacco part, but the first part, that was very much a flashback to my childhood at my grandparents' house. Stop running! Stop jumping! This house is old! Yeah.
I'm going to glance over at Sebastian and blink, and my eyes will go black. and sort of like mist will come out of them as I cast Detect Magic. And I'm just going to take a peek in.
Okay.
I'll
go ahead and
like
cast
kind
your
of take
spell.
him by the arm and
We should probably go to the place where the children were not allowed, right? Does it kind of make sense where, like the adults would gather? Out of the way of the, the crying things?
It's probably not a ballroom or anything like that where he would have had such a large gathering, though. Let me go back to familiar areas first and see if that triggers other memories.
Celine, as you step forward and your eyes glass over, suddenly, as you detect magic upon this place, you see nothing. Just empty, cold stone. You look about, and though you can hear the wind blowing through this, almost creating this moaning howl through the cracks of the building, though you can smell decay that is so old that at this point it has become more than just musk. There's no magic here. Nothing. Make me an investigation or arcana check, your choice.
let's see here. Okay, definitely investigation. 8.
Look about and you think, well, maybe the magic, if there is any, would be deeper in this place, hidden. At least you guys will be safe for the time being here. Good.
So far, nothing.
It stinks.
Except that.
Well, shall we move forward?
Let's.
I was gonna do telepathic to Marcus, and then I forgot that only works with my sister.
Just say
Marcus,
see.
Marcus,
Staring
have you been
into the
working
Talking to me
out?
again. It's me. You can only talk to me like that.
What was
No,
that?
I'm not talking out loud, my dear.
Marcus!
Have you been working out, Marcus?
Oh, well, yes. Thank you for noticing.
welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, I always know.
Okay, but I...
What? Your physique is incredible. As always, I was just, complimenting you. Ugh. Compliments.
Yes, I'm quite aware you're not used to giving those. So I will
compliment
take
everyone.
it. Right. Mm-hmm. Looks back at Brock.
And he just kind of, mouths, "They were your idea."
Yeah.
Henry, as you step through this foyer, looking about, you think back to your time, feeling like a servant sometimes, having to carry the heavy ingredients and the many experiments that your father conducted, being treated like a servant many a times, more so than a son. As your eyes kind of hit the back of Brockton's head, you can't help but to feel maybe just the thought passed through your mind of what true nobility receives and favors and privilege. The rest of you that have to grovel and work hard to get. How easy it is. And as you do, you just absent-mindedly kind of seem to touch at your head, and you realize that you're touching right. Kind of fall back in line with everyone else. Brock. You open the door to the foyer. As you look inside of there, you see another tattered room. If anything, it looks like the passage of time did the most damage here. Overall, there are an expand. Just let me double check on that one. There seem to be multiple of the furniture pieces still intact. The chaise that you remember so well has ripped and broken through. And in fact, as you move towards it, there's a little bit of a skittering that comes from it. You ready yourself, but instead you see a little mouse head kind of look up towards you. And then dig itself back into your favorite trampoline.
Trampoline.
The forbidden trampoline.
You look about. As you look through here, go to make me an investigation check.
Would this one be with advantage from the investigation?
Nearsighted goggles.
Yes. 26.
You check through here, and inside of the chaise, you see what appears to be maybe a little booklet or something. It seems to have what appears to be a little feather, as almost like a bookmark, wedged in there.
Fish it out. See if I can
Go to
tell
make
what
me a
it
dex
is.
saving throw.
Oh boy! Right out the gates. That's not great. That's an 11.
All right. As you guys the rest of you guys, time slows down for a second as Brock seems to kind of like see a little mouse and kind of look behind it. He seems to see something that catches his eye. He reaches inside, kind of grabs it, and suddenly goes, ah! Do you guys have anything fancy that could maybe turn that save into something else post facto as a reaction?
Oh, we're not cool. We're not cool like our other campaign.
Oh, you mean the unkillable? Sorry, I mean Light of Thalia.
To be fair, most of us have died at least once. But anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Cannot be killed twiceables. Trademark.
We're the
Anyway.
untwiceables.
So that's like unlunchables, whatever. Uncrustables, yeah. Not sponsored on the stream. But anyways.
Oh god, could you imagine? I love those things.
You get bit, and I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw, Brock. As you take 1
Oh, I'm
point
even
of
less
piercing
good at
damage.
those. 14.
As you just like, oh, fuck! You kind of see the bite there, and you immediately know with your training to kind of reach back and get that cloth, and you just like kind of take it out. You even take one of your daggers and like try to like scrape a little bit out of there, just washing out the wound as quickly as you can, hoping that
I'm aware right now.
you did.
I
what
believe you
needed
have to suck it out. If it's poison.
It's actually not recommended.
No, it's recommended. Trust me.
Anyway.
Just trying to be helpful. My god.
The doctor's trying to be smart.
Mm.
There's Marcus another little side eye. Really?
Marcus isn't looking anymore. He's just
looking at bearable. There's not even like a painting or anything to look at.
Hey, I bet all these leaves are here because these windows are broke, guys.
Trying to be helpful, that's all.
Did you find something in the cushion? Is it a feather? Like,
Was I able to retrieve the book?
Mm-hmm. You have the book in hand.
Found this, and apparently a mouse that didn't like me reaching in there.
you invaded his home, so it's fair.
Territorial. So.
I'll start flipping through the book, see if I can get a gist of what it is.
You kind of open it, and parts of it have been kind of gnawed away. You can see the other end of it. It certainly has some rodent urine, maybe incidentally splashed upon it as you're just like, and you very delicately try to pry it apart. In this case, actually, make me just a straight dexterity check.
All right. Oh, I hit the save button. Subtract 3.
Okay. For a total of 12, you check through, and in the beginning pages, you actually do find the title. It seems to be a guest book of sorts. As you check through it, you do see that, this is not an old one. This was the last one they had in use. The dates match up. This is 20 years ago. Okay, you kind of like gently pry it away, and most of the pages are just completely caked together. But delicately, ever so gently, you're able to get to the last page. And you see that apparently the last guest to have arrived was a Perius Anmatar. And I'll put that in chat for you guys. Now go ahead and make me a history check, Brock.
History 20.
With the 20, you do remember that the Anmatar family was actually incredibly sought after. But that was mostly because they were very, very good at glass blowing, out of all weird things. Like one of the most excellent families at turning sand into something clear. Something that a lot of people thought was witchcraft in and of itself, but the uses of glass were phenomenal once that was, discovered. Potion bottles were probably the most often use this day. But back in the day, being able to actually boil things, being able to distill things, the advent of alchemy was huge, life-changing, really. And the Anmatars were one of the families that had, generations ago, really spearheaded that. And Perius Anmatar must have been, well, you don't quite remember where in the lineage, but important enough to be called into this probably very important striking future alliances and deals with your family meeting.
Perius Anmatar. Looks like this is a guest book, probably from just before this happened.
Would you like me to try to clean it up?
Certainly, please. It's a bit unpleasant at the moment.
We'll attempt some prestidigitation.
You prejudice
You think,
the table, and if anything, you just see flecks of the parchment kind of move away, and you're like, and you try to carefully, but it's so caked together at this point, you can make it look a little bit prettier, definitely make it smell significantly better, but the other information is lost.
What is Brock's favorite scent?
Formaldehyde. No, I'm just kidding.
Jesus Christ, Alex, that would really fucking dark.
No, not quite. That's a good question. This is where I struggle because Damon doesn't really do favorites in a lot of ways, so it's hard for me to think like that. Let's say cinnamon. Let's go with cinnamon.
Marcus then, realizing this, will allow it to just have a little waft of cinnamon. Not too much, just a little. I did what I could.
That one's a hard spell. I can't get that one, so I don't blame you.
It worked. I know my spells. I went to school for this.
It's good. It's really good.
Anyway,
Do you think that guy killed your family?
Unlikely. His family are known for glassworks, glass blowing.
I'm pretty sure I have a few of their vials in my bag. Like they do make really nice glasses. Pull one out. Like see, oh yeah, like this is an avatar. See the A? It's very nice. It's a very nice vial.
Quite fun.
I don't doubt it.
There's-
You don't become famous as glass blowers if your wares are subpar, that's for sure. I mean, maybe if they're laughably subpar, but that's more infamous, I think, than famous.
On to the next room then, Or do we want to go back to like the non-children room? See what's in there? Do you want to continue on this way? It's like there's a few doors.
What does the ceiling look like in the foyer area?
Up here, it is
Yeah,
incredibly high
just like-
ceilings. It goes up to like almost quite like 30-35 feet tall, and they definitely come together in the well, you don't actually see the point come together. It is a flat, kind of like slightly domed and crenellated roof here. You can see, I forget what they call, like this almost like crown molding that kind of goes through. It was very rich at one point, but make me an investigation check, Sebastian.
Ooh. As part of that investigation check, I also want to check out the chandelier, if that's okay, to see if it rotted or if it was like destroyed. Just throwing that in there. That was my second part. Hey.
You look at it and you step closer towards it, and indeed, it is that the wood that it was actually attached to became so rotted through that ultimately it just collapsed down, crushed down. The other thing that occurs to you is you saw the A-frame roof up above. There must be an attic that they have access to, since it doesn't just come to a beautiful like A-frame roof here. So while there are only 2 floors to the building, there might be yet more to be plundered. Plundered from this location.
Brock.
Yes.
What
Yes.
is oh, yes, there you are. Do you have a basement or an attic anywhere?
I'm going to assume yes to both.
You had both.
There's a cellar and an attic. Yes.
Oh, perfect. Have you checked for the bodies of your family in either one of those places?
Maybe I should have spelled this out. This is the first I've been here.
Oh, that's right. This is the first time you've been there because
Um,
you weren't, included enough in the family to be there afterwards. I forgot. My
Well,
bad. Perhaps we should go
the-
check it out.
The crown
He was in
wouldn't.
medical school.
Oh,
I
medical
tried to
school.
come back and do some investigating shortly after it happened, but the crown was denying entry to everyone at the time because they weren't sure what was here.
Oh, maybe the
And
crown had something to do with it.
Mm.
I read a book like that once.
It-
Anyway,
not impossible, I suppose. Not about to cast blame that direction until I've got some kind of proof, though.
While
it's
Bryn,
wise.
in the back of your mind, you just see a pyre with someone burning because they own a book that would accuse the crown of anything bad.
Looking at this pile on the floor, is that like just the graphic, or is that like a very blatant finger pointing in a certain direction?
Oh,
It does seem to be a
Would I
very
notice that?
blatant finger pointing in a certain direction, I suppose.
Oh.
That is.
Yeah, Celine
it
is kind of just.
It is the arm of a marble statue pointing this way.
I don't suppose we should go the way that finger there is pointing. Do you think?
Do I remember what
It's-
the statue was when it was intact?
You absolutely do. It was the statue of Darius, your grandfather, pointing upwards towards the stars, towards innovation, striking a pose of knowledge. It seems that when the
Does it-
chandelier came down, it crushed the statue down.
Does it appear by any reasonable assumption that the statue's arm was intentionally placed in a way for the finger to be pointing that direction? Or does it just look like random clutter?
You're not 100% sure. I'll go off of the other investigation check that you had kind of like going on here at this time. At this point, it's hard to tell. It looks like it could have just collapsed down like that. However, if somebody came in afterwards, moved the arm to then point towards maybe the staircase, not impossible.
Fair enough.
You know, it's almost like a metaphor. Your family, maybe they were reaching far beyond their grasp, and then everything just came crashing down on them and obliterated them into the dirt.
That would be poetic.
That would be very poetic.
Any enemies?
I'll write it down.
Oh.
Based on what I know of the family's affairs at the time, I would be surprised if there was any actual overreaching going on, at least officially. Who knows with my uncle and his wife? They were a bit odd. But
Odd?
Arcanists.
Oh.
Hmm?
And? You have the floor, as they say, and not like that.
They were just strange people, absorbed with their magic.
Oh.
It's all I really remember. My mother was a bit estranged from her brother, and we didn't spend near as much time with them as we did my grandparents.
Oh. And what were their names? Something regal, I'm assuming, just judging by the area we're in.
My uncle's name was Kryn, and his wife was Vivesna.
Oh.
Marcus, Bryn, Henry, go to make me a history check.
Oh, hey.
Apparently, whatever this is, it's fairly common knowledge.
Well, people are just pretty well read. That name doesn't strike any of you as common in the crown, like in the crown lands, in the kingdom. You've never heard of an extravagant, lulling name like that. Bryn and Marcus, your eyes meet, and a similar conclusion is made. You guys just look at each other shoulder to shoulder right in this passage. It's like, hey. But as you guys are looking at
At the time.
Bryn cannot look at Marcus for too long. We already know Tyler's problem. Any kind of hot art, he is melted puddle right now. But as you guys look at each other, the thought that occurs to both of you is, during the time of the war, and especially towards the latter years when it became abundantly clear that the humans were going to win, many an elf decided to abscond the Elven Kingdom and find a way to live amongst the humans undetected. A name like this, it's clever. It's just exotic enough that it wouldn't maybe raise too many eyebrows. You could just be from the Far East or something. Yet at the same time, there's just a flair to it, a finesse to the way that the word flows. Maybe it's a coincidence. Or maybe this Kryn, this uncle of Brockton's, had married an elf in hiding.
You know, it's very obvious all of you look like you know something. You keep staring longingly.
I do apologize. Should I?
Do you feel left out? Feel like a one-sided conversation?
Interesting. Yes, that's quite curious how that happens.
I never feel left out.
Oh, I'm sure.
So Angie,
Usually I'm left in. I'm left in usually. Oh, that sounds strange. Never mind.
yeah, that doesn't make sense.
We're gonna back away from
That
that.
makes sense.
God, I love you,
didn't-
brother.
Didn't mean it that way.
Clearly,
So sorry.
socializing is not a strong suit.
You're not allowed to talk to strangers.
That's fair. We'll take a
Yes,
share anyway.
maybe there is some information. I'm so surprised that one of you don't know. It's just on the off chance that it may have happened. Your uncle's name sounds very... It could be elf related, adjacent.
There's no elf blood in my family.
That you know of.
Are you trying to say that my uncle's wife might have been elven?
It's always a possibility. Many of them went into hiding, as it were. There was a war.
She was somewhat willowy of a woman. Don't recall ever getting a look at her ears. Or at least not paying attention.
I get self-conscious about my ears.
She was cold, to me at least. I tended to avoid her.
Saying it could be a possibility.
I'm saying I don't have enough evidence to say one way or the other.
Does it carry any importance? We have yet to know.
Noted.
Well, that sounds boring. Well, when are we going to start decorating?
Decorating, it's the least of my concerns.
Well, when are we going to start looking for interesting things? I mean, I'd like to see the rest of the house.
Yes,
know-
I do vote we move on. Exactly.
Yes, mysterious things have happened here. I mean,
Clearly.
I'm surprised nobody else kind of wants to look in the attic since things were pointing up. Or the basement where there could be bodies aplenty.
I say we clear out each level first, and then we kind of like move on to the next one, right? Just in case like there's something here, right? We don't want anything like sneaking up behind us.
That's true, that's true.
You feel the urge to break off from the group and go out on your own somewhere else, though. Don't let us stop you, surely.
No, I think I'm going to stay right next to you from now on, my good friend named Bryn.
Well, that's my cue to. Brock, wait up.
Okay, I'm coming as well.
Where's everyone going?
David, do I remember?
Power walking.
What's
Do I
behind
remember
this
what's either direction that I see potential exits here?
You seem to remember something in the north having to do with a large hall with that roll. You remember a large thing. What was that? You always wanted to play with it and you got your fingers snapped with a twig so many times. Oh yeah. Ivory. There was ivory and some of them were painted black and there was a bunch of little levers. They'll flip up, flip down. And whenever you hit one, Darius had explained it to you once. It's something about string and sound and a piano. This is a dance hall.
Can't
Brock
seem to
not know what a piano
Yeah,
is?
I was actually hoping harpsichord as he was describing it. Anyway, the doors seem locked. Do they seem locked or stuck?
As you try to push up against them, they absolutely do not move. But as Celine, you guys hang back, suddenly there's just something cold gathering. as suddenly you see a hat and then a head and then shoulders start to lift out of this chair and find themselves
Finally.
into a sitting position. Oh, why, this is...
Hello.
Wait,
Hello, you.
oh, and this ghostly figure tries to pinch itself, and it seems to just go right through.
Yeah, you're really dead.
You're like so dead.
And the figure kind of floats up and starts to move towards... Let's see.
Oh. I was just trying to be nice.
Marcus,
Sometimes they don't know.
you see this
Oh,
figure
God.
kind of float upwards, and you see that... Actually, in fact, all of you guys notice, without having to make a check, sometimes some of the undead things that you have fought may have exhibited signs of the death that they suffered, right? Somebody was torn apart by wolves. You could see maybe gnaw marks upon them or missing body parts or something like that. But this is just a pristine ghost. It's almost as if this ghost died peacefully in their sleep, though as you look at them, this seems to be, a young noble, maybe in their early 20s, starting to float. Sorry, obviously like approaching deep middle age, around early 20s, starting to float towards Marcus as he kind of looks towards you, looks you up and down, looks around, and their eyes kind of go wide as they look upon you, Bryn. What on the sun god's earth is this? Did you let them in? You,
do I-
entertainer, speak!
They are a part of my show, good sir.
You
Was
would
I not?
hire knife ears.
That was rude. Like, really rude.
I think he had it coming for what he said to you.
Just me. I'm the only one.
Marcus feels so gross for saying this, but gotta go with the bit. Don't you find him at least a little bit exotic, strange? Haven't you heard of those freak shows? Oh, I hate it.
Make me a persuasion check on that one.
What's going on?
I thought we were the catty ones. Damn.
Oh, you didn't
While
see...
she's rolling that, does this guy look at all familiar to me? Like, is there anything about him that's like, oh, this guy is a cousin or somebody I remember seeing around here? Or
Make me a
anything of the
perception
sort?
check.
Funny's not bad.
Do just that.
I did indeed. I have heard of them before. I hear that they do inexplicable things. Things that are off the books of the crown. Anything can be sated there. That's the type of entertainment that Darius has.
I think he's stealing my brand.
Bitch.
Brock, as this ghostly figure seems to be kind of lost in this moment, like for a second it seemed shocked to see you all, try to pinch itself, was completely unfazed by that. It floated up, and then there was a weird shift in its presentation towards you, how it behaved. It seemed to kind of blink out of it and then find itself in a different situation, taking you almost as equal living people. But then you're distracted, for you do see a very smart cloth doublet upon this figure, and very, very prominently a little golden brooch with glass elements inside of it, and stained glass making up the same A that Henry just showed you all. So, entertainer, what is it that you have brought for this soiree?
I do need to finalize certain things with the the head of the manor, of course. Can't have...
Well, the dinner's not ready yet, even though I arrived fashionably late, so get on with it. You will not be able to speak with him. As far as I know, he's planning some great reveal anyway, so we're all waiting around, and I have to see who I'm going to have to make a new trade deal with. Whom do you think is going to be the next owner of this estate? You must know. Or are you ignorant too?
I have heard that he does have a few children. Perhaps the lovely daughter, perhaps? Or... Though it did sound like his son was a bit of the odd sorts.
He was, but he was the promised one, was he not? He was the one that showed the magical potential. He had the sorcerer's blood. But the daughter, well, she does seem to present a keen mind, does she not? After all the magical talent that she had was earned through study. So maybe... Tell me, entertainer and freak, whom would you choose? The one with a natural born talent, but a bit of a weirdness about them, maybe a little bit of a loose cannon, but the one who was going to carry forth the magical spark that elevated this family in the first place, therefore also the natural born son of Darius himself, therefore the one who should own and inherit this estate anyways, as the male progenitor, the man who's going to carry forth this line, or the daughter who does not carry anything special about her. And yes, she is smart, I suppose, and she was cunning enough to marry a man above her station, but I don't know. I find myself torn. If you were noble and had coin and taste and were me, what would you choose?
Well, no doubt you've heard the stories of those nobles who seem to have had things come easy to them, and then their heirs let everything slip through the cracks. And what they became famous for ended up being their fault. No doubt you, fine sir, have learned the fine trades. You have not just sit here all silver-spooned. So I would have to say the daughter.
Actually, you're right. You are making a fantastic argument, as the ghost seems to kind of just pace back and forth. In support of me supporting the son. If the son indeed does mismanage everything, freak, as he kind of turns back around, then this estate will fall to ruin. And with that, we may be able to claim these lands as ours, keep expanding as we have. My father would certainly think this is not a good move. After all, Darius has been such a good client of ours. The most glass anyone has ever purchased as an individual. Odd, really, if you ask me, but yes, I will have to put my support behind Kren now. After all, if he becomes the next coronavirus in charge of things, oh, why the family will simply burn it to a crisp. And then we can take it over. Fantastic point, entertainer. My kudos. And he seems to kind of reach into his bags, but his fingers kind of like reach almost through himself. I seem to have misplaced my purse. Be on your way then, and I think I'll just take it. And with
You're
that,
dead.
I am truly terribly sorry.
Yes, it's a shame he couldn't tell that you're just a short tips and not a full knife here.
Whoa, we just learned something about Brock.
Brock, we've talked about this a number of times before.
Oh, I'm not actually opposed to elves. Just necromancers.
Well, they
That
have
makes
their
what you
own
said so much better.
slurs that you could use instead.
Yes.
Well, who was that man?
Believe, based on his brooch he was wearing and what I found in that guest book, that was what remains of one Perius Anmatar.
Where did the ghost disappear to? Like, did it just sink at the
Into
floor?
the chair.
Marcus
No,
is just gonna
It's
spit
just like,
on
I'm
the
just
floor.
tired. I just, you know, what's
Marcus
Tired,
is just
sleep
gonna
now.
spit on the floor, just.
you know, and then he could just come from wholly different directions, doesn't it?
Whoa.
Oh, magic!
Mind blown. While everyone's talking, I would like for Sebastian to go over to the door and start using his little thieves' tools, pick the lock.
Sure.
Nice.
What do I have to do for that? I forget. I
Go
never
to your
use thieves' tools.
inventory, find the thieves' tools under the tools tab, and then this will be in a dexterity check.
Oh, okay. Nope, I don't have thieves' tools. Well, I have proficiency, but I don't have thieves' tools.
You kind of look
So,
around, and you're like, shit, I don't have any. And you do see in the incredibly well organized, it's like cargo shorts, but just pouches and like a leather vest and different pieces across Brockton's body that are just perfectly arrayed.
Another fumble. How weird.
Well, does
So,
anybody have a
one,
little?
I am not a
Jimmy?
Rob Liefeld X-Men character. I'm not covered in pouches. I have a messenger
Artificer with a
bag.
bunch of bag of holdings. Come at me, do it.
Yeah. I'm sure that's never been done. Anyway,
100%.
Can I use a dagger?
No,
I use a
not as
dagger?
effectively as Brock could use his thieves'
You
tools.
want
And
to
while they
break
talk,
the
you,
law?
Brock, you finally just turn around and you see Sebastian kind of just like go, trying to desperately with a dagger get into the lock.
let me try.
Oh, all right, perfect. I'll leave it to the doctor. Nimble fingers and all that.
Okay, just making sure everything was configured right on my tools. Yeah, I will give it a go with my thieves' tools.
Hey,
19.
Alrighty. Now, couple things are gonna happen.
We all die.
Yes.
The
That was
end.
a nice stream, everyone.
Yay.
Foundry VTT, y'all. Thank you so much. Just gotta switch some stuff.
Found one nearly TPKs. Yes.
Hey, we made it past the break at least.
You know
Yeah.
what?
Beautiful. God, I love how they set some of this stuff up. This is awesome. All right. As the door creaks open, you suddenly see 6 ghostly figures. Or I should say 6 pairs of ghostly figures start to dance to what sounds like a haunted waltz. Wreckage consumes easily about 1/3 of this dance floor. The majority of it is just rubble and wreckage confined to the eastern half of the building. At the center of the room, you do see a shattered piano dug into the floor itself, which now appears to be its final resting place. And Brock, once again, there's just maybe a little bit of a pang of your childhood self thinking, oh man, I just wanted to play it proficiently once.
What can you do?
It does seem to be that the ceiling itself here kind of collapsed downward, not really creating an easy way to get up above, kind of collapsing it down almost like a like a claw trap, if you will. The western side of this room seems to be significantly less damaged, with a broad wooden dais sagging, but still intact overall. Much of the furniture that once sat upon it seems to have been flung away and smashed to bits, but the remains are still scattered here and there. Now, as you guys look at them, you see these spirits are dancing with another. You see that there are smiles as they're dancing around, swirling about, and then fade away again as soon as some of the rays of light seem to hit from behind you, filtering ever so weakly past.
Well, that's creepy.
Now that we've seen multiple spirits, can Bryn go ahead and cast Mage Armor?
Fuck this shit. Go right ahead. Go ahead and target yourself, though.
Yeah.
It does look like that door is blocked on the other side, so shall we just go towards the east then?
There are two doors. Doors. You see one here, and you see one here. Two doors.
There's a bird.
I'd like to go earth the dirt, please.
Oh my god. We're
Hey,
warming
the
up.
girl,
This is warm up
the
session.
Earth the dirt meme actually lives like somewhere near here, so I'm just trying to keep it local. Anyway,
We gotta go back to Bodunk.
I forgot about that already.
yeah, that's going in the notes now.
I know. Bodunk.
Sure, Marcus sees the piano and just lets out a little, oh no.
As you guys step in, you do kind of get that the music seems to be, the pittering of the piano is still going, but the tempo is kind of unsettling. As you're like, ding, 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 ding. And as that goes on, you just feel it as detuned, disjointed, and it's just unsettling.
I cannot allow a beautiful piano like this to be tuned. I mean, I know what's wrong with it. It's
Broken.
broken, but
For the record, I'm not the only one who saw the dancing spirits in this room, right?
Yeah.
I did.
All right.
In the piano?
Do what?
Can I look in the piano? Can
Sure
I
thing.
lift the cover?
Yeah. Go ahead and make me either a perception or an investigation check, your choice.
Oh no.
Alrighty. You see Bryn kind of look over, see kind of
Break
like
the piano
collapsed- I think is it called a wing or a leaf on a piano? It's one of those, right? What's the
Oh
top
god, I
flap?
don't
The
remember.
Is it the one with the
Lid?
top flap?
I always called it the lid.
Okay, the lid.
Same.
Is that correct? I don't know.
You
I
step
grew up
forward.
adjacent to Bodunk, but
Listen, there's just a bodunk little manner here, okay? Steps forward, grabs one of the, one of the planks and kind of wedges it underneath the lid. Kind of, and as the music had been plattering on, suddenly, the doors to the south go shut. As you see a spectral figure rise out of this fireplace, you can suddenly see what is ectoplasmic goo that seems to kind of detach itself as it kind of drags itself out and cling to the walls as the tempo of the song once again kind of kicks up. The dancers once again appear one by one, swirling in the midst of you all.
Yeah, that one's a bad one.
Oh,
On the
finally.
next episode of Polyhedra Plays A House Divided, we will see how well these Bodunk heroes are gonna be able to make this dance happen.
We're not all from Bodunk, okay?
Yeah.
Really?
Alrighty.
Yeah, you'll
Once
never prove
more-
I'm from Bodunk. I don't know what you're talking about.
I just wanted to do a huge thank you to our sponsors today. First and foremost is, of course, Foundry VTT, whom we're doing this in association with. We're one of the few streams that they had selected to do this officially with. So thank you so much, Foundry. We sincerely appreciate all of you that have been watching this just to kind of get a view of this. This is just the beginning. I am so excited. This adventure in particular, I can tell you, is detailed, is deep, has new homebrewed monsters to have a new feel for things. So even your more meta knowledgeable players are going to be like, the fuck can it do? And you're going to see that next week, which I'm so excited about. Of course, we also have a couple other people who have been wonderfully supportive. There's Silky Noir, which can, of course, make wonderful custom commissions happen for you. Silky Noir has been an artist in our community for a long time. If you guys want to find us on Discord, it's discord.gg/polyhedra, just like, I think it's like that way over there. Thank you for that follow. And yes, follow us please too if you can, because that is going to be super helpful for when we are going to stream again next week. We're always live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Mountain, or of course 6 p.m. Pacific time. And then the last
PM
one,
Central.
whatever. Yeah, Central is a place, I think. I don't know. That's where Texas is, right? Texas time.
Central is part of Bodunk.
Exactly. No,
Sorry to all the
I
people
don't
that live in
mean
Central
that. I do
Time.
not
Sorry.
mean that before people get mad at me. No,
Some
no,
of my family lives in Central Time. I'm allowed to say it.
The views of Tyler do not represent the views of Polyhedra or its individual members.
They're
Well,
all
I
my
live in
views.
Central Time, so it is my view.
My dad lives in Central Time. It's Bodunk.
I know someone who knows someone.
Stop it, you both. But yeah, it's been. God damn it.
Sorry.
You guys are friggin' killing me.
R.I.P. Central Time.
Oh my god. In any case, it has been absolutely wonderful being able to do all of this. Of course, the last dear sponsor of ours is the Sorcerer's Candle Maker. Just so you guys know, if you go to their Etsy store and type in Polyhedra as the discount code, you can get wonderful candles that are of sorceress make. They're for 50% off. It's incredibly kind of them. So in any case, this is amazing. This is wonderful. After 2 years of streaming and having found a wonderful group to do this with, we're coming home. We're going to the place where I dreamt us to be, and that wouldn't be possible without you six, so thank you. And it wouldn't be possible without our sponsors, but most of all, it wouldn't be possible without you all watching. I hope to see you all again next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, and all of those other time zones that may or may not exist.
PM Central, 7 p.m.
Oh, goodness.
See you guys next week.